very quickly, I know we're tight for time, I just want to say hello to Diego. Diego, good morning. Nothing nicer than people just saying a nice thing. Hello, good morning. My name is Diego, a viewer of your spectacular television channel. I'm writing to congratulate you for your great work and professionalism and to encourage you to continue. I live in Spain and I use YouTube to watch and enjoy you. Best regards and thanks again. How kind, actually, just to get in touch, Diego, and I think it's worth mentioning just for being kind and nice. Thank you.
It's interesting as well, we were talking about looking at the royal family going through this. Reminds you of the fact that they are human beings and they are a family, but it also reminds you of your family. Jackie says, I was looking at Lady Louise. Now she's 18. That's Sophie and Edward's daughter. And she was standing vigil last night. I was looking at the Lady Louise and I thought of Princess Diana being only 1 year older on her engagement. That brings it home to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, she was very young. Very, very young. I don't think all that would happen again now, would it?
No.
No, not like it did then.
No.
Look, let's have a look through the papers this morning. Broadcaster David Hamilton and political consultant Emma Burnell are here. Good morning to you both. And we're looking at some of the pressures that are going to land on the government after Tuesday. This is in the Observer.
Yeah, absolutely. There is enormous pressure coming onto the Conservative Party. Liz Truss does not seem to be what one would call a lucky politician. There are some politicians who just seem to get everything landing on them at once. And Liz Truss, first of all, had that incredibly long leadership contest. Well, we all kind of knew she was going to win.
We were all mightily fed up with it.
We were so fed. So by the time she got in, there wasn't any kind of excitement. It was like, oh, thank God that's over. Then almost immediately, she tried to announce the energy policy, and literally as she was stood up in the Commons talking about it, the news went around the House of Commons that the Queen was very, very unwell. So that again has stalled her agenda, but that hasn't stalled all of the things that are causing the crisis, and that's been building up and building up for all of us. So while we are aware in domestic terms mostly of what's happening, what's about to happen in terms of capping the cost of living, there hasn't been the big row that there's going to be about how that's going to be paid for. And they've also only told business in very vague terms what will be happening for them, and even then only for 6 months. Business have been very unable to plan ahead at all. And while, of course, this is a national moment of mourning, we've also got life, and I think the Queen would have been the first to say, life goes on.
I mean, they're very odd times, aren't they? But you can bet your bottom dollar that, you know, despite everything that's going on, the people who are in charge of all of this will have been working their socks off. And they absolutely must have been, because, you know, even if you look at it purely from political gain, when they do stand up and make statements, they want them to be
robust.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No, absolutely. Well, and I think they are certainly likely to be punchy. I think there is a big question about the robustness. The Conservative Party are very split on the approach that they are taking. Whether Liz Truss's borrowing to cut taxes is going to be certainly not the kind of sound money that has been the Conservative Party's sort of core approach for 30, 40 years. So they are divided on that. There are many open goals for Labour, and there is also just a sense that they've been in power for a long time. So when we get back to normal, I think that the level of opposition to Liz Truss, her government, I don't see her having a very long honeymoon. Not with the winter we've got ahead of us.
No.
There's got to be action, and it's got to be convincing action, hasn't it? Got to be fast as well. David, you've been looking at the political pressures, and particularly the pressures over who is and who is not invited to the funeral.
Yes.
What the situation is with China's leaders, for instance.
Yes, the government has been accused of appeasing China by allowing its leaders to attend the Queen's lying in state. Sir Ian Duncan Smith claimed the establishment has leaned on Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker, to admit a Chinese delegation to Westminster Hall. At the same time, Liz Truss is telling Biden, get tough on China. I wonder, actually, who is the establishment? Who is it who would be doing this?
What? Who's doing the leaning?
Well, who is the quote, the establishment who are leaning on Sir Lindsay Hoyle?
Well, this is our one, because it's not Lindsay Hoyle doesn't have control of Westminster Hall, so it's not up to Lindsay Hoyle.
Well,
Which is, according to that, I know, but I don't think that's right.
you don't.
No.
But who would it be? Who would they be leaning on, and who would be doing the leaning?
I don't know. I find all this very disturbing in the sense that we know Putin is wanting to meet up with Xi Jinping. And, he's very desperate to make a stronger relationship with China. And so it's in our interest, isn't it, to be diplomatic with China at the moment.
And they did meet, I think, last week, and China were very lukewarm, and they've largely kept out of the war in Ukraine, whereas Russia were very much hoping that they would go.
Yes, they sort
really
of made
back.
it. They sort of made it clear that they didn't terribly.
They thought it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And while I think it's absolutely right to question the role of China in our economy and in the global economy, the Belt and Road initiative that they've been putting forward has left Chinese fingers in all sorts of pies all around the world, which we now know that when an autocrat with a bad human rights record suddenly decides to do something that is utterly unacceptable outside of their own territory. I would like to make it very clear that China is already doing very unacceptable things in its own territory. Then we don't want to be dependent on them for our economy. That's what we're seeing as a result of us having been so dependent on Russian oil and gas.
But inviting them to a big royal funeral
It's not the same
It's
thing.
not the same thing.
That's it.
It
We
may
need
just
to
be keeping
separate.
some sort of friends.
We need to separate diplomacy from economy, and that, I think, has been a real issue for many, many years.
It would be pretty frightening, wouldn't it, if Russia and China got together?
Yeah.
I don't think that China can be happy about the way the war is going in Ukraine. They can't give that their approval. I can't see them joining in with that, could you?
Well, let's hope not.
I hope we have to pray not.
I hope not.
But that's why, don't you think, somebody, whoever it is, your establishment word,
Yeah.
planning the royal funeral is thinking, why not just keep, they say keep your enemies closer, don't they? So
Yes.
maybe, just extend an invitation. It can't do any harm.
No, it's not the same
As long as we can
as
stomach
having them
it.
invest in a
No,
nuclear power
exactly.
station.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
you sit them next to is a completely different thing.
Yeah, it is. David, can we have a look at the King Charles Spaniel
Yes,
in the Sunday Express?
I thought we'd have something lighter for all our doggy lovers. Lots of our viewers, your viewers, love their pets, I know. And members of the King Charles Spaniel Club are the people that are hoping that the new monarch can save the breed that bears its name. Lincolnshire-based club member Catherine Stewart. That's a lovely
very
royal
big
name.
name. Yes.
Catherine Stewart, really royal ring to it. She says the dogs were named after King Charles II, who kept them as pets. Last year, there were only 91 registered with the Kennel Club.
Really?
They are unique, she says. They're stoic and loyal little dogs. Maybe King Charles can do for the Spaniels what the Queen has done for Corgis. But incidentally, his dogs and Camilla dogs are Jack Russells. And what is lovely is that they have one from Battersea and another one that they found wandering in the woods. Isn't that nice?
Oh,
Really?
Isn't that lovely?
they certainly love their dogs, don't they?
Yeah, they-
Oh, just I mean,
But the
King
King
Charles.
Charles Spaniels
Oh,
are
that's so
They're
cute.
gorgeous. My
Absolute
parents have
beautiful
one,
dogs.
Yeah.
and he is the sweetest tempered, loveliest little thing. They got him as a rescue when he was 4 years old, and he was round as a barrel. And this lovely old lady had overfed him, and my mum put him, all of her diet energy went onto the dog. And we take him out for walks all the time. And during COVID, when they were isolating, I took him out for walks for them. And he is the sweetest, sweetest little thing.
The funny
They're
thing is
lovely
that
dogs.
King Charles II actually really did have King Charles Spaniels.
Yeah.
I mean, who came first? Was it his hairdo that came first, or the dogs?
It's a good question.
Imitated whom? Because they are look
A
alike.
lot of people think they have breathing difficulties because of their pug noses, but apparently they don't. And they are adorable.
They're not very pug-nosed, though, are they?
No, there's not like a Pekingese or
No,
something.
no. But that's why a lot of people don't want. But I think maybe now, do you think?
Oh, yes.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
They'll come back into fashion.
Do we have anyone watching GB News right now who has a King Charles Spaniel? Please get in touch and tell us about them. Maybe send us a photograph. That would be really nice.
That would be lovely.
GBNews at GBNews.
I've got a Cocker Spaniel. I don't know what she's named after.
No. dread to think. Thank
Honestly,
you for that, David.
David Hamilton, cannot take him any.
No, we have to
Can't
be
take
able
him
to
any.
laugh.
It's all in your mind.
Well, yeah, that could explain that. Have we got time for another one? Somebody tell
Can't
me.
believe there are only 91 registered.
Yeah, go on. Emma, let's talk about Leonard Cohen and Hallelujah. His seminal work, people say.
It is his most famous song. I am an enormous Leonard Cohen fan. And my first play was, he was the offstage central character in it. I've written songs purely because Leonard Cohen exists in the world. I went to see him when he came out of retirement.
Wow.
At the O2, and he bounded on stage, and he said, "Last time I was here, 12 years ago, I was just a 60-year-old kid with a dream." I have just his art, his sense of humour. He was wildly misportrayed as being depressing and moody and lonely.
His music is
but his music is so beautiful and has that beautiful, slightly melancholic, very Jewish sense of humour, which is absolutely runs throughout his art.
When you're a kid learning how to play the guitar, as I was once, he's very easy to play because there's only basically 3 chords, isn't it?
3 chords and the truth.
Yeah,
absolutely,
that's right.
absolutely.
But his poetry is
So
absolutely
incredibly beautiful,
beautiful.
and I just
What's this about? He took
So he took 10 years for Hallelujah to become a proper, well-known, well-recognised hit. It was rejected by his record company at first.
Oh, you can see they thought, oh no, this is too
Too religious, too
It'll never catch on.
It'll never catch on. And then it was actually Shrek, the film Shrek, and there's a new documentary coming out all about his struggles with Hallelujah and the song. And I can't wait. I'm going to be front row.
Aren't you making a record?
I have made a record.
What?
Called No Cure for Love, named after a Leonard Cohen song, which are the songs from the first play that I did. And I'm writing another musical play, which will also have songs based on a modern take on Medusa.
Well, when we're over the funeral and the loss, and we're talking about brighter things again, will you come in and sing for us?
I'd love to.
Oh, Lord.
That would be a moment.
Only thing to do back.
Now you're asking.
I can play it on my radio show as well.
Please do.
Hamilton Hotshot.
Oh, I will be sending it immediately.
And if it's only based on about 3 chords, I could even join in the guitar
There
in
you
the
go.
back.
Well, and if I can sing it, anyone can sing it, I promise.
There you go. On that note, as it were, we'll leave Emma and David for now, but we'll catch up with you a little bit later.